This video is going to give you the 3 ways that you can go about creating a podcast for your business, and you'll learn which format is best for you. Coming up. Hey, welcome to Content Monster's marketing channel, where we help you create greater quality and quantity of media content for marketing your business. Even if you don't listen to podcasts, there's a very good chance that many of your potential customers do. Podcast listeners tend to have higher incomes, more education, and are loyal listeners to the podcast they choose. These are all good signals if you're looking for that ideal customer. So if your business is looking to start a podcast and you don't quite know where to start, first you need to understand the mechanics of getting a podcast from your mic to the masses. Before I explain the 3 ways to create a podcast for your business, it's important to understand how all podcasts basically work. In order to have a podcast available to the world on platforms like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, these are the primary functions that need to be carried out. First, you have to record your podcast by gathering all the voices together for a conversation. Then, of course, you want to edit the podcast. This means blending and optimizing each voice so that the conversation is pleasant to the ear. Then, for SEO purposes, you want to add tags and titles and descriptions that will help your podcast get found by people searching for podcasts like yours. The fourth thing is to upload your podcast to a host. Your audio file has to live somewhere and someone has to put it there. And finally, you have to market and repurpose the podcast. You'll want to give every episode a long life and help it continue to drive attention to your business. This is done by doing things like creating clips to promote the podcast socially and adding it to your overall marketing strategy. Now that you know basically how it works, here are the 3 ways that you can go about starting your podcast, along with the pros and cons of each. Your first option, of course, is do it yourself. If you have a lot more time than you have budget, then this may be the route for you. The equipment that you'll need can be minimal. A decent desktop setup for your do-it-yourself podcasting can be obtained for under $500. Look for a link in this video or below it for some gear suggestions, and be sure to subscribe to the Content Monster Gear channel for more information. On that channel, we'll be going deeper into some individual equipment and how it might work for you. Add a comment below if you have a particular equipment question. Now, the cons here are, if you're doing it yourself, get ready to also do some research. You'll need to learn a bit about audio files and how to optimize them for the best sound. You'll want to study up on audio SEO as well as the best ways to host your podcast files. Then you'll want to help your podcast find its way to listeners by learning how to promote your podcast. Now, this is all possible as a do-it-yourself project, but not the best option for a business that needs to focus on what they do best, their business. Now, your second option is to hire a producer or agency. If you just want to show up, talk, and wait to hear your conversation pop up on your podcast app, then hiring a producer or agency is the best route. A producer can capture your audio remotely or in studio, mix all your voices, and create a polished podcast audio file. If the producer is part of an agency, then your podcast can be distributed and marketed by the agency. For example, here at Content Monster, we remotely record our clients' podcasts with studio quality, mix them down, distribute them, and then work with their marketing teams to achieve the highest possible ROI on each episode. For the host, it's as simple as having a weekly scheduled conversation. Your producer or agency handles the rest. A third option is a combination of the first 2. You may be able to record the audio on your own, especially if you're the only voice that will be on the podcast. Then you can pass the recording off to a producer to finalize and distribute the audio for you. Or you may want the assistance of a remote producer or studio producer to capture the audio, hand you the file, and you take care of distributing and marketing. So, which of these 3 solutions are the best for you? For most businesses, they'll choose a turnkey solution by hiring a producer or agency to provide the best sound production, distribution, and marketing of their podcast. It requires only a commitment of course, marketing budget. If you're looking to produce a solo or hobby podcast, you might go the do-it-yourself route or seek assistance for just a portion of the process. Hey, for more tips on content marketing for your business, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell to make sure you get notifications when we post new videos. This is Lee Judge from Content Monster, and we're out.